In my first grade year, my teacher told me I couldn't read and told me I was stupid. And the sad thing was I believed her. So when you don't think you can read and you don't think you can learn, what happens with that is you start to act differently. So I got in a lot of trouble. I got kicked out of 2 middle schools. I dropped out of high school. I actually didn't learn to read until I was 19 years old. And it wasn't until I was in my mid-20s where I woke up and realized my life wasn't what I wanted. And I had this epiphany that if it's to be, it's up to me. And it was this consciousness that, you know what, if I want to change my life, no one's going to do it for me. It's not going to be my government, my religion, my family, it's going to be me. And when I took that approach and looked at my life that way, I thought, wait a minute, we all have that responsibility. It's a liberty that we have, and if we don't have the results we want, that is our own fault. I have a dear friend who said a great quote. He said, life is unfair, go out and get your unfair share. So to me, I'm going out and getting my unfair share and helping other people do the same. So for all of us, it comes down to personal accountability. So for me, I research. I read on average 200 to 250 books a year. I study, I read biographies, I've interviewed thousands of people. And all I keep looking for is what is the absolute best tool. I'm never satisfied, I'm never finished. It's like Walt Disney said, Disneyland will never be finished. When you think of success, you think of the success of my clients, how do you really quantify that? Is it that they're happier? Is it that they're more successful, they've made more money, their marriages are healthier, their kids are more successful? I think to me, especially for me, at the end of the day, is they're living their life the way they want to. I really do believe that success is very personable. You can't quantify it by dollars and cents, but you can quantify it by, did I live the way that I wanted to? When I lay my head down at night, or when I go into the grave at the end of my life, can I look back and say, I did everything I wanted to do? And if you can, to me, that is the definition of success. So if I can create content, information, books, movies, infomercials that can liberate somebody from their own fear so that they then can liberate other people, that to me is a life worth living.
Humble, boring little accountant. And after my accounting program, I decided to go on to law school and really screw my head up. So I just love small business and have always been an entrepreneur. I was that kid that had the lemonade stand, had a business all through college, multiple businesses. Most of them successful, but they didn't make me rich. They just got me through college. And so I really felt accounting and law was the language of business. I didn't want to go to court. I didn't want to be a TV lawyer. Didn't want to sue people. I wanted to be in the boardroom. I wanted to help small business owners, not Wall Street, not these large corporations and these international conglomerates. I wanted to help out the little guy. You could be in the United States and I could have 100 different types of businesses in the room and 100 different goals, 100 different situations financially. The boundaries of countries aren't the problem. When you're talking about business, buy low, sell high, make money, save on expenses, make profit. The concepts of business are universal. I'm not teaching tax strategies in Ireland versus the Isle of Man or Greece. I'm not teaching asset protection in Australia versus the UK. I'm, in this course, talking about business principles. Deciding if a business makes a good idea, whether I'm selling a product or a service. And once I do make the decision to move forward, how do I execute it? How do I bring together marketing principles and action items in a plan that I can integrate and make sense of it and keep balance in my life and turn to a board of advisors or a board of directors to help me succeed. And just challenge you not to give up. Your dreams are reachable. They just take time and it's tough. It's tough on all of us. Don't feel picked on. If you're laying in bed tonight thinking, why me? And this is too hard. Hey, we all have those feelings. I do too. And we're all very self-conscious and it's easy to get down. So in this community, our goal is to build each other up. I need to feel your energy, your support and love, and I'm gonna try to give it back 100-fold right at you.
I feel like sometimes life just hands you something to see what you'll do with it. And for me, it was growing up with a mom who was adopted and always wanted to find her long-lost biological family, and meeting a guy when I was in my early 20s who was able to help me help my mom find her family. And as cheesy as it sounds when I say this, calling my mom and telling her that I had her mother's phone number in front of me, the same woman she's looked for 30 plus years, was a life-changing moment. It was very emotional for me, And watching the impact it had on my mom and the way it changed her was impactful. So that's when I started to decide I wanted to spend my life, if possible, wanted to spend my life helping people find long-lost family. I don't know how far I would have gotten had I not figured out how to get the media to tell our stories, because we were just little young entrepreneurs with no money and no marketing knowledge and no advertisement experience. And really, the media is what propelled us from 0 to 1,000 miles an hour really fast. It led to hundreds of appearances on the largest national television shows, and I was blessed with not one, but 3 primetime TV shows of my own, and it spun into best-selling books and keynote speeches that took me around the world, and now we've got this amazing nonprofit foundation that helps those who can't help themselves. So we have been so blessed that we've been able to be a part of what I think the last time anybody gave me a count was 40,000 families have been reunited through the work we've been doing all these years. My career in the national media had gotten pretty consistent, and here's the thing. If you go on national TV and do something that's good, there are other people who would like that experience in their own lives, and so they seek you out. And here we were now with no business, no company, no way to, monetize or manage or anything, all of these requests. And yet, every time I would show up on a television show, thousands of people would reach out to us. Let me share with you every single thing I have done over the last 3 decades to allow myself to reach not millions, but tens of millions of people around the world.
I had the dream job running a tennis club at age 28, but at the same time it wasn't the dream job because my income had capped. So at that point, I was very fortunate because running the tennis club, I worked with highly successful individuals. And one of these individuals was one of the most successful people that I knew. And he said, look, you got to get involved in something that has more leverage. So I got involved in the direct selling industry. I built my business in 40 plus countries. It was a phenomenal experience. It was just the experience, right? It's fail forward as you go. I think I just failed more than most people. And then I said, you know what, let's write a book. So that was a process that I had a goal of way earlier as I was starting to add notes. And so the last couple of years, I've written 2 books. I have 1 ebook. And then 5 months ago, I started a podcast that now has been listened to in over 80 countries. So it's just been fun to learn how to create content, repurpose content, to be able to train people on how to have those breakthroughs, especially with social selling. I've just learned that there's so much leverage to online. Online enhances the entire experience. I come from first an old school train of thought where I did nothing online, and then I transitioned to mixing both old school timeless principles of offline and online. But I know that the world needs to hear about this. I know the world has so many entrepreneurs. We know you need a deep dive. We know that you need those principles, those strategies to be able to get your business launched or to take your business to the next level. So I always look at companies and I say, first and foremost, is this something I could be aligned with? Is this something I'm going to be excited about where it's not just a quick fix, but I'm going to be excited about it 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 7 years from now. So for me, I want to make sure that I always have that passion and that energy and that I align myself with the companies that have the purpose, the vision, and the values.
So I grew up really poor in my life. I grew up in a small town in Arkansas. I come from the family and the mindset of get the next job, go out, find your job, make some money. I had this friend that was a realtor. And one day we were riding around together and he gets this phone call from this guy that does credit services and he's looking for someone in the area to take on that role. And I'm always looking for something. I have to make some money. And so I take the phone call. I said, hey, I'm interested. What do I got to do? And he said, well, do you think you can sell credit services, credit repair? I can sell $1 for 5 quarters. I can sell anything, right? Just give me a shot. Within just a few months, I realized that everybody was getting ripped off. And what I did is I went to everybody I could find and I apologized. I said, hey, I think I sold you something that's It's not what you thought. But what I will do is I've learned a lot over the last few months here, and I'll try to do the thing that you bought. I'll try to give you what you wanted. And I got this phone call one day, and the guy says, hey, are you the guy helping people with their credit? And I said, I am. And he said, how much does that cost? And I started a business. I get asked this question a lot about being an instructor for Renatus. This is how I can truly help the most people, being able to go out from community to community all around the country and look and teach somebody something and then watch them light up and go, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. Oh, I never knew that. I never realized that was a thing. For somebody with a teacher spirit it's invaluable.
The reason why I do what I do is because honestly, I love people. I love people and watching their lives transform and just be different, because I came from a background where I thought I couldn't be very much to really believing in Ron Williams. And I knew that if I could make that transition from where I started, that other people could make that same transition if they only had this information. Family hasn't always been important to me. I grew up without a family. I didn't really know family. The people that I should have loved the most, I was away from, and I got an opportunity to love them at a distance. My mother, my father, my kids, all of them, I got an opportunity to love them at a distance. And when I began to change my mindset, that changed my heart and my ability to love, to give, to reach out, and to nurture. So even with this Saladio training, it helps us to change the way we think and to better embrace family, to be the man, to be the woman that we should be. So now family is crucial to me. As you see, I work a lot with my son, and I want my ceiling to be his floor. And he can take that floor and then build a ceiling for his children, and we keep progressing as generationally, on and on and on. So family is very important. In this course, the Saladio course, I put it all on the line. I put it out there, because if I don't, I take a certain part of that demographic, I take hope away from them. But if I tell them the honest truth, if I tell them all of the hard things, all of the things that were a struggle, if I open up and tell them that, there's somebody that's facing that same struggle. And if I extract that and leave it out, then I take hope away from that certain demographic. So I lay it all out there, just raw. Well, the reason why I take time out of my schedule to work with Saladio is because people that are willing to invest in themselves are the people that are going to be most successful and most productive. And the people that are in this group, it's something about Bob Snyder. He draws a certain type of person to what he does. And if you've gravitated towards Saladio, you have the mindset of growth and being bigger and better. I am going to be reaching my goals, because my goal is to help as many people as I possibly can. And I know with Saladio, I'm able to help a lot of people.